Hi, Tim Sells here. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the #1 reason people don't want to join. And very specifically, I'm going to be doing other videos having to do with the typical reasons. But what I'm doing in this video is I'm teaching you how to navigate personalities. And but the first thing I'm going to talk about is what is cranking out excuses despite our comparisons. All right, this is going to be a really good video, okay? So a lot of thought went into this, and about 30 years of experience went into this video, okay? So I'm going to run back through just so that you can get the context of it, just in case you haven't seen the other ones, but it's going to be real fast. I did a bunch of comparison videos. You're welcome to go back in the videos that I've done. And I've done comparisons in network marketing versus real estate. Network marketing pays 2 times more people will earn $50,000 in network marketing than in real estate. All right. And then 11 times more will earn $100,000. Network marketing versus YouTube influencers, 145 times more people will earn $50,000 in network marketing. 79 times more people will earn $100,000 in network marketing. And then network marketing versus actors, entertainers, musicians, things like that. 19 times more will make $50,000. 14 times more will make $100,000. Network marketing versus Amazon seller. It's a different business model, but it's 2.8 times more people will earn $50,000 in network marketing. 2 times more people will earn $100,000. But in that particular model, you're not being a salesperson. Amazon is. You are manufacturing and branding products. Okay. So that's the comparison. And so why people don't want to join despite all of that evidence that it is a legit business model. In fact, I would say superior in a lot of ways. Okay. So there was a comment below the video that I did showing those. And the person says, "It is amazing to me how you guys," my name's Tim Sales, will say anything to justify the greatness of a platform, MLM, where the 98% cannot even make a consistent minimum wage. All right, so obviously, what is the comparison? Minimum wage. Okay, well, that's like comparing a turtle and a rabbit. Okay, it's not even a comparison. You can't put it in the same category. So would it be a race or a race in the water? You see what I'm saying? In other words, you can't do a comparison that way because the turtle would win in the water, right? Okay, so let me break this down for you. The minimum wage is a whole lot less than $50,000. And 7.5% make $50,000. Okay, so he's mathematically wrong. But this cannot was my clue. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through positive-minded versus pessimistic-minded. So here's minimum wage, $7.25 federally. Some states have a little bit less, some more. 40 hours a week, $15,000 a year, $13,270 after you minus out the tax. And so that comes down to $52.60 per day working an 8-hour day. All right, got that picture? All right, so now over here in network marketing, that would be equivalent of taking a $100 product and you have a 30% like markup on the product. You make $30 times 2, 60 bucks. So it would require you to basically get 2 customers a day to make this. How long would it take to do that? There would be a build-up period of time where it might take you, several hours a day in order to kind of learn the pipeline, how to generate the leads and so forth. But after probably 2-3 weeks, you'd probably be able to do that overnight and wake up with the sales. In other words, that's the way that I have accomplished it. And keep in mind that this isn't having anything to do with multi-level marketing. This is just affiliate marketing. And the network marketing component would add a whole lot more to where you could do it without having to do that part anymore, okay? So, so I estimate that that's going to be about 20 leads to get 2 customers. That's a 1 in 10 ratio. So 20 leads go through, they see some presentation that has to do with the product, you get 2 customers out of it, okay? Very logical math. So is it cannot or is it did not? Let's go back to this person's phrase. The greatness of a platform, MLM, where the 98% cannot even make a consistent, okay? Let's go back to that now. Cannot, did not. Could you walk down right like next door and say, hey, would you like to buy this? Could you? You could, right? If you're in a wheelchair, could you roll over there? Yeah, you could. Could you call them? Yes, you could. It's not a function of cannot. It's a function of did not. They didn't do this. And that is the reason, if his math is wrong, I already know it's wrong. But even if he wanted to come up and say, oh, blah, 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 it's still, so this is a logical conversation. And I know it extremely well. All right. Over here, what if a hot water heater goes out? What's this person going to do about that? Well, probably cold showers or no showers or eat less or borrow money, right? That's what they've got to do because they can't get like that much money. They can't make $500 to go down to Home Depot and get a water heater. And so what are they going to do? They gotta like suffer. They got to sacrifice something. All right. Over here, person's water heater goes out. What do? Well, they sell 20 and earn $600 and buy a water heater. This discussion will resolve confusion for a positive-minded person. And this is really what I'm trying to train you guys on, is that there is positive-minded and there's pessimistic-minded, and I'm going to divide the two here, and this is the beginning of it. And if you give a logical conversation and it is, okay, so how does the person get one? What would they have to do? This guy or girl, I don't know which it is, just throws out the cannot, instead of did not. What did they cannot do? Or what did not do? They did not do one of these components or more. Now, I have to be very careful in this conversation. I'm not suggesting everyone who doesn't do network marketing is pessimistic, all right? That is not at all, nor should they. We all rely on people in other fields, okay? That's only logical. I'm talking about people who need or want what network marketing provides. And you can look at my video that I did having to do with the benefits of network marketing as I see it. But they have excuses that are illogical. So this pessimistic has to do with excuses that are illogical, or they will not look at reason. All right. So this was my clue, cannot, right here in the 98%. 98% cannot. All right, that was my clue. Because the comment is focused on who can't do it, how many can't do it. All right. So there is a philosophy, and it is, I can't win, therefore the only victory is in refusing to try to win. It really, truly is a philosophy. All right, and you can witness it a lot now that I've exposed you to this concept. Now, you may need to freeze the video for just a second and reread that a few times to get the idea. In other words, the person doesn't believe they can win, and they actually get a victory, kind of like a like on a negative video. They get a victory in refusing to try to win. This is from a German philosopher, Arthur Schopenhauer, something like that, not sure. He's a philosopher of pessimism, saw the world as something horrific and bleak. He urged that we turn against the world. Okay? He said that art helps us to escape our individuality and thus the inherent suffering and meaningless absurdity of existence. Okay, if this is your belief, keep it. Okay, I'm not trying to change somebody's belief. Trust me. I want you to be who you are. And I'm going to be who I am. All right? And so I'm not doing it for that reason. I'm just letting other people know that how I navigate through this. So victim has a very similar ideology, not the same. Victims cry unfairness when someone has amassed wealth, demand redistribution of wealth. But here's the catch. Without redistribution of production and risk, I'm not joking when I tell you this story, and my brother could be watching, and I hope he remembers this conversation. But my mom was in the hospital, and he and I were standing out front, and they wouldn't have let us in for a period of time. And we were sitting out there talking, and I'd lived in another state, and so I didn't get back for a long time. And we were just kind of catching up, and somehow we weaved into a conversation, and he said to me that, well, yeah, Tim, you should give up some of your money for those who are less fortunate. And I'm like who? And he goes, me. And I'm like, you're joking, right? I thought he was pulling my string or something, right? And he goes, no, you know, Tim, it's unfair that you have all that money. You got lucky. You got fortunate. I go, got lucky. Oh my gosh. All right. So right there, I bowed out. Okay. Because I realized he really did believe that. Really and truly. Didn't matter that we came from the same womb. Didn't matter that we ate the same food. It didn't matter that we were in the same house. None of that mattered. And so I was like, okay, all right. He's picked up some ideology that I am not in agreement with. Okay. So when somebody takes on this idea of being a victim and they cry out an unfairness of some kind, what often happens is that they're not looking at the other side of it, the production and the risk. I'll give you another example. So I did a stock evaluation. I looked at it and I said, you know what, I think this will go. I didn't overestimate it. I didn't underestimate it. I didn't look at it from a negative standpoint of saying, oh my gosh, what if it drops? You know, I'm going to lose this amount of money or whatever. And I didn't also say, well, what if it does this? Yes, I look at risk reward, but I didn't make it more or less than it was. In other words, proper evaluation. Okay? It's like logic. I placed my bet. I was down to $347,000. Not an easy conversation to have with my wife, right? But fortunately, my wife kind of has the same attitude as I do. And she says, well, we could sell it. Do you believe in it? Yeah, I do. I did a reassessment of it, right? And today it crossed $1 million. And so it was would my brother at that time want to do this $347,000 distribution with me as a loss? No, he wouldn't. Nor would anybody else. Anybody who's crying an unfairness in income does not want the other side of what making money is about, which is risking money, which is risking a lot of things, okay? So just to conclude on my brother, it was very interesting because, I'd say 15 years later, 10 years later, he called me and asked me for some business advice. And I was like, okay. And as he began to talk, he was talking about he had moved up to foreman, and then he was talking about different employees that he had, and sometimes some are just goofing off all the time, and I have to fire them. You know how it is. And he was saying phrases like this, right? And he was wanting to go into business partnership with somebody, and his whole attitude had completely shifted because he was no longer in that position of getting a job. He was in the position of having to hire and fire people based upon production. And so he had completely changed his direction, and then we could have more of a sane conversation. And then, and the other thing just about this victim things, and I know it's kind of like one of those trigger words where people get upset if you don't agree with their whatever that thing is that they feel victim of. All right, and I'm not saying that people don't have the right to say that they're a victim, because I've seen it. I've seen collateral damage with bombs with people who were in the area and they were victims. No other way to look at it, right? Yeah, there is. Because it doesn't do any good to be victim. What happens there in that zone is that you're trying to get sympathy from people. You're trying to get people to feel sorry for you. And I'm telling you, that's not a good position. It's a far better position to like find some kind of way to say, I need to own this. Okay, so girl breaks up with me and I'm like all upset and I'm crying and I'm like, how could she do this to me after all I did for her? Blah, 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 blah. I'm not getting anywhere. All right, I am not getting above this problem. I'm burying, I'm like with a shovel digging down below her. Okay, because what's happened is that I failed to take any ownership, no responsibility whatsoever. And it's that moment where I go, wait a minute now, I chose her. That was my bad. I didn't see all of the picture. So, man, I'm glad we ended quick. You know? And so that brings you up and have power over it, as opposed to wanting sympathy from all of your friends. What a drag. Like your friends are like, oh, come on, dude, like, get over it, you know? So anyway, and then, okay, so yeah, I was no longer a victim. Okay, so the greatest part, I think, not just the greatest part, but a huge part is, if you want a no discrimination zone, come to network marketing. Really and truly, because we have no discrimination against race, color, national origin, religion, gender, pregnancy or not pregnant, age, disability, etc. Network marketing has what's called a meritocracy kind of a philosophy, and it's based upon merit. In other words, production. What do you get done? If you've ever heard the concept of a merit badge or something like that. So when people produce, then they earn. When people don't produce, they don't earn. And that is the only fair system there could ever be. And why would a person, this is just a follow up or follow through on this, why would a person post a negative comment on network marketing power, where clearly who we are is evident? It's not a mystery group, right? So they have the belief of, I can't win, therefore let me get others to refuse to try to win. They feel they earn military medals, merit badges, war ribbons by getting others to refuse to try to win. All right? As they hide behind sock puppet accounts. So the person who made that comment, is one of those things where you go to their YouTube channel and it's a fake account. No name, no picture. So that's the way that I have always witnessed it, because I'll explain in the next section here. But when a person comes into a zone and just like tosses something out, what's he trying to do here, right? He's trying to get others to refuse to try. All right? What is that? I really think that through. What they're going to tell you is, well, I'm trying to get you to not lose money. I'm trying to get you to not lose time. No. They put you at victim and now they are giving you excuses, right? If you've watched the tax video where the tax accountant, my tax accountant, walks you through that it's nearly impossible to lose money based upon 1099 tax. And and the only way that you could not succeed is to not learn the pipeline. It's the only way that that could happen. And so if somebody doesn't want to do that, okay, right? So, all right, so that's that one. And then some have been exposed, not everybody is pessimistic. Some have been exposed to a pessimistic person. But when shown logic, can see it and change their view. And then some, when shown logic, keep generating excuses. That's your clue. They're 10 miles of bad road. That's a Tennessee expression that I used to be. So the way that it was said, and I just got to give this, right? So this man, he was in my church, and he was sitting down, and he had his hands like this, and it was like this, and he was listening to me, and he goes, you get wrapped up in that girl, she's 10 miles of bad road, son. So that's the way I always think about it from this standpoint, is that if you get into a discussion with somebody and you kind of figure it out, it's best to not engage in an antagonistic conversation. Remember the conversation with my brother? When I realized that he really did believe that, I kind of backed down and and I go, well, man, it's an interesting perspective. I'll have to think about that. No, I'm not going to think about it. And then, so I just, even in any situation, so if I'm talking about network marketing and then somebody says, most fail, and then that's when I go back and I say, well, hey, let's take a look at what it does take to succeed. And then I show them the pipeline or something like that. And then they generate another excuse, another excuse, another excuse, another excuse. Then I kind of know, like, this isn't going to go anywhere. And I just, like, in a nice way, bow out. I'm not trying to convince that person because I don't want 10 miles of bad road, even if they did join. Okay? So, and that's not putting the person down. It's just, I want them to believe what they want to believe and keep on believing it. I'm not going to try to change their mind on it. I will show them logic, and if they can't see the logic of it, then I have nothing else to do, right? So, and the other thing is that I just want to end on this, which is everybody has excuses. Optimism is having a good enough excuse to win. In other words, you dig in there inside of you and figure out a good enough excuse to win. Pessimism is having a good enough excuse to fail, quit, or not try. And so what's the end state? All right, so now I have created this difference between optimism and pessimism, right? I'm not trying to generate a fight here. I'm not trying to do any kind of antagonism. What I'm trying to do is show you, the viewer, is that you can take on the ideology of pessimism. It's fine, all right? If you are an optimist person, then you have to kind of wear a mask and stay 6 feet apart and that whole thing, because I assure you it's far more damaging than any virus that you could catch, because it literally gives your picture, like what you're looking at. Let me just explain this a little bit. I want you to think about a calendar, and and it's plotted day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and like this. And you need to put a date out here that you need to fly. You need to put a date here that you want to get your airline ticket, and here you want to prepare your presentation or whatever it is that you're flying for. And here is a reminder that your son's birthday, and you're plotting out in the future, right? So what is that? It's like you throw a football out ahead, and then you drag your body over to the football to catch it. And then you throw the football out again, and you drag your body out to catch it. And a person who has a pessimistic look doesn't realize that that's what life really is. And so you can make it a very enjoyable life. You can really enjoy life. It doesn't have to be a negative thing. It doesn't have to be that everybody's out trying to steal your money. It doesn't have to be any of that stuff. Okay? It doesn't have to be that. And it's all in the way that you want to look at it. And so do me a favor, please. Like this video if you like it. Comment down below and let me know how you feel about this. Have you seen this? Have you ever seen where you've had an argument with somebody about network marketing and you won? I'm joking. Like I never have, right? And so I'm just wondering if somebody's got a more effective strategy. No, really appreciate you guys a lot. I'll see you in the next video.